Well, good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. Thank you so much for joining me here if you are live on X, Facebook, or YouTube. So we are going to get started this morning. I hope everybody is enjoying their Tuesday, and this is our Tell It All Tuesday. This is a day where I like to go through some headlines that maybe you've heard about, maybe you haven't, but definitely trying to dig a little bit deeper and expose what's really going on. So thank you so much for joining us here on Tell It All Tuesday. Yeah, it's kind of like that picture of the guy hiding under the desk. It's like, oh, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. And so there's been a lot going on outside, but I definitely wanted to check out and see what's going on in DC. And we might see some feedback about how people feel about how it's going. But I've got a few videos, and I just want you guys to check out and see, what's going on.
Washington, D.C. says that her department is going to be increasing cooperation with immigration agents. Last night, protesters confronting police and Homeland Security agents at a new checkpoint in a popular nightlife spot in D.C.
So, as President Trump brings law and order back to our nation's capital, activists have another reason to be outraged. Not just because the president said D.C. had become a humanitarian disaster slum, or that he said crime was so bad it wasn't even safe to walk down the street. Oh no, activists are very upset because on top of all that, the president is now coming for their precious illegal immigrants.
Local police and Homeland Security agents were stopping cars at a busy intersection.
All along, the official word has been that this is all about the issue of crime in the District of Columbia. Now, if they are making traffic stops and they come across an undocumented person, they are allowed to report that person to federal officials, including ICE.
You can see there is a new sign posted saying no deportations in Mount Pleasant.
Honestly, I was disgusted, but not surprised at this point. These people are Trump's thugs.
For them to come here and try to do that as some sort of FU to the neighborhood is gross. It's disgusting.
You hear from city leaders and others that crime is actually down. Are you seeing that?
No, I'm not seeing it. We're seeing carjackings, the violence in the communities. So we were advocating then for the National Guard to come out, but they said there was no need.
I don't have a problem with that personally.
So the lady that was talking, that was kind of off camera, and I had covered this about a week ago. She, unfortunately, she lost her son, she lost her husband to the violence going on in DC. And they were actually asking for the National Guard back in 2023. And Biden was like, crime's not bad. What are you talking about? They didn't help anybody. This is a problem. And Trump's trying to shut it down. And now you've got people there screaming and crying for people to continue illegal activity. It's weird. It's really strange. It's just odd to me. And good morning, Black Empowered. Thank you so much for reposting the stream.
Because if MPD can't do it and they need help, then I'm glad they're able to get the help.
So the open borders crowd is now very upset that driving while illegally in America could get you deported. But what nobody's talking about is that if you're in a country illegally, the last place you'd logically want to go would be that nation's capital. Unless it's a sanctuary city, which Washington, D.C. was for years. Something that makes zero sense. How can the capital of America be a place where people are encouraged to live as federal fugitives? After sneaking into our country from the far corners of the earth with the help of gangs and cartels who are our enemies. And there is no modern country that has encouraged people to commit crime in its capital to the extent America has. has. Which explains why DC has become such a crime-ridden city, with flash mobs running the streets doing as they please, and gangs of professional shoplifters robbing businesses and escaping in broad daylight. Plus, there are homeless encampments so prevalent, many sidewalks have become treacherous no-go zones. And that brings us to the real reason why ICE is involved in this DC crackdown to begin with. If you're gonna solve a city's lawlessness problem, that's not gonna happen if some criminals are allowed a free pass. Which is no longer the case, as ICE is now here, roaming the streets with Trump's cleanup battalions, which consist of local police, FBI, DEA, and the National Guard, a show of force designed to crush the criminal underworld that's been openly co-opting our capital for decades. But there are some areas of the capital where illegal fugitives can hide in plain sight.
We have an individual who is a 4-time deportee. That means he's been deported 4 times. He's also an aggravated felon. Many felony convictions, that's why he was deported. But he managed to make it back. He is, in fact, working on Capitol Hill. He's not only working on Capitol Hill, he is working outside and apparently is involved working the grounds as a gardener or something.
Okay, 4-time deportee. Everybody knows who this person is. What's the problem?
So we, with ICE, have been trying to arrest the individual. And we are not allowed to go on Capitol Hill to make an arrest. We've been told that we're not allowed to do that. Now, ain't that swell?
Now, see, I find that interesting. And good morning, Dr. C. She says, greetings, founder. Greetings to you too. Find it interesting because we do have a federal law, Title 8, Section 1324. If you are harboring an illegal alien, that's a crime. So even Janine Pirro is saying we can't touch him. Can we as the people file a complaint is what I'm asking. Because if they know that, I mean, this person's been deported 4 times. They're definitely here illegally. They're not going to be able to get citizenship. Like it's a wrap. It's a wrap because you're already beyond the federal level, because once you've been deported once and you come back here again, you're at the federal level. Like, why aren't you in prison? And how in the world did you get a job on Capitol Hill? By the way, like, she's a judge, she's a prosecuting attorney, and she's sitting there going, we can't touch him. What? Yeah, I need y'all to let that sink in. Her hands are tied. Again, I'll submit a letter. I'll do what I can do on my end, because they are committing a federal crime. They are violating Title 8, Section 1324. They are knowing and willingly harboring an illegal alien and gave them a job. What? On Capitol Hill? What? Yeah, whoever hired that person, whoever's hiding them, I don't care if it's 10 deep, they need to be in federal prison. But see, that's me. That's what that's me. They're better than me. Again, I'll say that. They are truly better than me.
Maddening. And that's why this crackdown needs to happen. You got criminals all over the place being protected. And you know what? After the crackdown takes place in DC, or while it's happening, this needs to happen in other parts of America too. Trump needs to send his cleanup battalions to other rotting American cities like New York and LA, because there's a crime problem in these places and it's out of control and everybody knows it. But as you're about to see, fixing DC might take longer than the 30-day period the president's allowed to take it over, because crime here is literally everywhere.
It was just before 11 a.m. in Columbia Heights. ¿Qué motivo te dieron? A food delivery driver is put in handcuffs by several federal agents. I asked the man what reason he was given for his arrest. He responds, "They're taking me away." Neighbors reminding the man that he has the right to remain silent.
Yeah, he knew it was time to
This
go.
witness asked the federal agents what was happening. They asked her if she worked with news and told her to step back.
Are you news or something? That's why we're...
Will news get a better answer?
Yeah, as soon as we're done conducting our investigation, we'll be able to fill you guys in a little bit more.
But they left without giving us any answer.
Probably because they weren't done with the investigation. They got a fugitive in the back of that pickup truck who's dangerous enough to require a whole team of people to arrest him, and they're surrounded by hostile protesters in a hostile environment. And part of the reason for that is that this has been until recently a sanctuary city where local police were banned from asking anyone about their immigration status, which essentially made this place a magnet for people who are afraid of two things: getting arrested and getting deported. Now ask yourself, who's afraid of getting arrested? A criminal. And who's afraid of getting deported? Someone who's not supposed to be here. If you got both of those problems, go to a place that won't turn you over to ICE, which is what DC was for a long time. And now locals are very upset because when these federal fugitives get caught doing gang-related stuff, shoplifting, you name it, now they're gonna be gone. And their time here has come to an end.
These women tell me he's a delivery driver who works every day outside the restaurant where they work. They tell me he's humble and hardworking.
Doesn't mean he's never done a crime.
Racial profiling at its finest.
Jose Guzman says he believes the DC government is not protecting its immigrant communities when they need to the most.
Oh my goodness.
As citizens of the
This is the part that upsets me, because you're standing there crying tears over people that are here breaking the law. Like, it needs to be said, we're not going to put up with criminal behavior anymore. Like, we're done. All over the country, we're done. If you've broken the law, you need to get in jail. And if you're not from this country, you need to be deported. Period. And then we're going to figure out what to do with you, because there are some people that just need to be rehabilitated, right? So that can functioning member of society, a contributing member of society. But if you are here illegally, you need to leave. You are not making our country better. You're making it worse for everyone. I need people to hear and understand it. Stop it. Don't you ever get in my face and tell me you need to feel sorry for these people. Absolutely not. I will never feel sorry for somebody breaking the law. Understand me now. When I say it, I don't feel sorry for you. I never will. Period.
of the district need to speak up, and we need to stand up for those who are not protected in this.
Oh my goodness. How are you going to do that? How do you stand up for people who are here committing a crime every single day? So what if someone is a delivery driver? That does not excuse past criminal behavior. But you see, the whole reason ICE is getting this level of pushback is because these radicals, they don't think anything ICE does is justified. When they see ICE arresting somebody, they give that person the automatic benefit of the doubt, even though they'd never give you or I the benefit of the doubt if they saw us getting arrested. And even if they're told that this person is a dangerous criminal, even after they find out what they've done, they said, well, it's just Trump's thugs that are saying that they did this. It's probably not true. Or they'll say something like, hey, even though this person was accused of doing a whole bunch of horrible things, since they haven't been convicted yet, that means they don't have a criminal record. This man has no criminal record. He was just at work and he has no criminal record. You see how this works? Doesn't mean anything. But to some people, it justifies hating ICE.
Prompting the response from immigration advocates.
The response.
Here today, passing out these red cards, which on the one hand remind people of their constitutional rights, and on the other hand,
okay, criminals don't have constitutional rights. People that are here illegally do not have constitutional rights. This is what drives me nuts. Citizens of this country that are here legally have constitutional rights. But you have activists like this young lady right here, making it convenient. Well, they have a right to due process. No, they don't. Not with my tax dollars. I'm ready to sue everybody. Because it's really maddening that my tax dollars are being used to support people that are here illegally ad nauseum. Okay, Tom Homan talks about it all the time. He was like, these people have gotten their due process at taxpayer expense. It's not coming from even the other countries where they came from. Like I said, Donald Trump, if you're listening, you need to start pulling any monies that we give to these other countries where these people are from so we can recoup. I'm just saying, we need to recoup our money. So if that means pulling $5 billion from whatever country we are sending money to, pull the money, because their people are causing a problem over here. And I guarantee you, I guarantee you that illegal activity, people coming over here, countries don't like losing money. Okay. Hit them in their pocketbook, and we will see definitely levels of illegal immigration go down. We will. We'll see it go down. And Patty Cakes, thank you so much for reposting the stream.
Can provide something that they can share with immigration to assert and remind immigration of their rights. And so, for instance, this card reminds people that they have the right to remain silent.
This arrest happening hours.
It looks like these are all written in Spanish. And you know what? These activists, they don't get it. If somebody's in the country illegally, that's a crime. And every day you stay here, that's another crime. You see, people that are here illegally, they haven't just committed one crime. On top of that, ICE doesn't even need a warrant to do its job. Listen to this.
Section 287 of the Immigration and Nationality Act provides that ICE officers have the authority to arrest aliens without a judicial warrant.
And here's the thing. You have activists saying, oh, they're racially profiling people who have no criminal record, therefore this is wrong. But that's not true. And then they say, oh, show me a warrant. Show me a warrant. Prove to me you have the right to arrest this person. They have the right to arrest this person. Just people don't like the fact that they have that. And by screaming at them and recording it and saying, show me a warrant, show me a warrant, show me your badge, show me your badge, it makes it look like something wrong is going on to people who don't understand what's going on.
And so, for instance, this card reminds people that they have the right to remain silent.
This arrest happening hours after D.C. Police Chief Pamela Smith issued an order that allows for the partial cooperation between her officers and federal immigration officials.
But she did the right thing.
The order allows D.C. police to provide information about people who are not in police custody and for the local police.
Look at all the mopeds they've got in the back of this van here. Why do they have so many mopeds? How many people are they arresting? How deep does the federal fugitive problem get in Washington, D.C., where they've got an entire truck full of mopeds before it's even lunchtime? That's crazy. But you know what? These activists, they don't even care that it's crazy. In fact, some of them might actually be here for reasons that are not completely organic. With one recent investigation finding out that many of the protesters have been to other protests. Some of them are even federal employees, if you can believe that. So it looks like we've got a crowd at these protests that is not at all representative of the local population that has to live with the crime committed by lawless individuals at all levels. And people are just sick of it. They want to see lawlessness go away. And the only way you do that is if you enforce all of the laws at once. You can't say, okay, we're just going to not enforce immigration law, but we're going to try to do everything else. It's not going to help. Certainly not in a sanctuary city.
Now, within 4 hours, talking about putting up something new. Take a look here right now. You can see there is a new sign posted saying no deportations in Mount Pleasant. Now, earlier today, we spoke with neighbors, but also business owners, and all of them say they stick together and they will stand for no hate. New surveillance video shows the moments where it appears to be federal agents tearing down a sign in Lamont Park in Mount Pleasant.
Honestly, I was disgusted, but not surprised at this point. These people are Trump's thugs.
So the outrage here is so misplaced. These individuals who are wearing politically left-leaning t-shirts, these people, they don't get it at all. They think all of the crime is fake. They think it's all made up. And when criminals get arrested, they immediately defend those criminals. They say, oh, they're a hardworking person, or oh, they didn't do anything. They immediately take the side of the crook. On top of that, their entire neighborhood shows the signs of laws that have not been enforced. Parks, like the one that was just cleaned up here, these have become permanent encampments, some of which reportedly house people who've got things like gas stoves and other fire hazards, e-bikes. These things pose an imminent risk to anyone who's walking by on the sidewalk. But what's probably even worse is that when these progressives get outraged, their solutions are to actually make the problems people face worse, which is...
I wanted to interject really quick and read something that Patty Cakes had put down here. She says I'm not sure, they were given to illegals. Wow. So they gave stuff to the illegals along with cell phones in DC. Okay. Oh, money. Yeah. And then, here's the deal. They'll fuss at Americans and say, well, you guys are lazy and this, that, and the other. You're not working. You're giving handouts to these people. They can't even speak the language. They can't even read and write in English. And yet you're handing them everything. But you're calling Americans lazy? Interesting. Oh, mopeds. Oh, gotcha. That's right, because some of them couldn't get driver's licenses. They gave them IDs, right, which was really crazy to allow them to vote. But the mopeds, that's how they were getting around. So that big truck of mopeds that he showed. Yeah. Yeah. But you're giving people stuff. But you're not doing that for American citizens. And American citizens are like, hey, we need help. We need assistance. And you're like, well, we don't have anything for you. We can't help you. But yet you turned around and gave billions of dollars and have still spending billions of dollars on people that don't belong here at taxpayer expense. Yeah.
Is how we got here. There have been years for these progressive solutions, sanctuary status, you name it, to take effect. And that's why we've got this crackdown to begin with. The solutions that these people want and advocate for, they've been in play this entire time.
It's a shower curtain. It's harmless. People are painting what they feel.
The sign includes profanity, so we are not showing the full thing. It essentially is calling out U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
At first, I was outraged.
This park is, in fact, a meaningful part of this neighborhood, where Rob Fleming says he spent 50 years keeping it clean.
Mount Pleasant is a bunch of very resilient people. We know how to fix things.
These people, they just don't get it. And you know who they're not interested in hearing from? People in Washington, D.C. that actually have to live with the crime and experience the crime on a regular basis. They don't want to hear about how this affects the stores that people shop at, about how this clears out small businesses, about how some people feel unsafe and how some people feel like their neighborhood's headed backwards. No, these progressives, they think they're headed in the right direction, but the direction they're headed, we're already there. You see, that's the problem. We're already at the destination they want to arrive at, which is why all this is happening.
We love our migrant neighbors, as evidenced by the sign, and I want to keep that message back in this neighborhood.
It's historically an immigrant neighborhood. You know, it's largely Central American historically neighborhood.
Okay. Now, I know I've got some people in the comment section that may have a little bit more information on DC than I do. Really? Historically, it's always been migrant? I thought the majority of DC was Black American. Yeah. But see, they want to call us migrants when it's convenient, right? Stop. It's the illegal people that are here that we are protesting that we don't want here. But like this gentleman, this progressive individual, you know, they're just like, why can't we all just get along? We can get along as long as you're here legally, not illegally. That's the problem. And thank you so much for joining us this morning and reposting the stream.
It's gentrified a lot, but it still retains a lot of that essence.
So after these people moved there, it was no longer a historically Central American neighborhood, but it still retains the essence. But notice what these people are doing. They're lumping all immigrants together, both illegal immigrants who are committing a crime by actively remaining here and legal immigrants who went through a completely different, arduous vetting process to come here with permission. And they're saying, all these people are the same. All these immigrants, they're all under attack. You see, that's what the talking point is here. But you got two different groups of people. You can't just lump them together like that. Instead, these folks are out there acting as if an iron curtain of tyranny has descended upon their neighborhood without admitting that the very things happening in their city are happening because policies they support have been enacted. They've gotten what they wanted, and this is the result of it. And when you look at the crowds of protesters and you look at these investigations that aren't getting any mainstream attention, you realize that the people who are protesting live a very different life from the people who are actually suffering in Washington, which is very interesting because we got two separate populations here. We got the protester crowd who says that all of this is an affront to justice and it's tyranny, and then you've got the people that actually have to live with the crime, and they're happy to see more police. You think actual moms want their kids to walk out their front door and become gang members or fall in with the wrong crowd? Of course not. You think people want their kids to grow up and become looters? No, absolutely not. But if that's who's running the place, and those are the people getting ahead because lawlessness is allowed everywhere and legal businesses can't exist, nobody gets ahead doing things the right way, some people are going to be sucked into the criminal underworld. It's terrifying. And what's even worse is the fact that local politicians and leaders are out there defending this, saying that everything's fine. There's nothing wrong with our city. We've got everything under control. Tell that to the people who've been harmed by the crime going on here. And this neighborhood's lost CVS, it's lost Dollar Tree? Like, how do you lose a Dollar Tree? I mean, this is outrageous. We need this crackdown, and we can't let any criminals off the hook. That's what I think anyways. What do you think? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
Well, the police chief...
Yeah, and I'm really grateful for Cash Jordan. So definitely give him a follow on YouTube. And it's Cash Jordan, Jordan. Yeah, so he brought up some very good points. They're lumping all the immigrants together, and I know that has got to really upset people that have come here legally, that have, committed to being a lawful citizen of this country. And then you've got individuals coming over here illegally. And my biggest issue is they're being propped up, particularly by the Democratic Party. And I'm sure they're being propped up by some Republicans too, because I really don't see too many Republicans coming out against this, right? I mean, we definitely see the Trump administration, but if there's any videos that you guys can find where there's actual, congressmen and women that are really coming out against this, send it to me. I'm still waiting. Republicans, where you at? Because you're making it look like it's very one-sided, but you're really not fighting. Just saying. You're fighting for other people, but you're still not fighting for the American citizens that are here. And that's part of the problem. Now, I am going to play a video with Janine Pirro, and he played part of it, but I wanted to play the full video so we can make sure we get the full context around this individual that they're protecting on Capitol Hill that's been deported 4 times.
Pirro here, U.S. Attorney in Washington, D.C. I just want to invite you into my day to let you in on a little interesting case. We have an individual who is a 4-time deportee. That means he's been deported 4 times. He's also an aggravated felon. Many felony convictions, that's why he was deported. But he managed to make it back. He is, in fact, working on Capitol Hill. He's not only working on Capitol Hill, he is working outside and apparently is involved in working the grounds as a gardener or something. So we, with ICE, have been trying to arrest the individual. We are not allowed to go on Capitol Hill to make an arrest. We've been told that we're not allowed to do that. So ICE has been waiting for 8 hours to arrest this individual, and we're coming to the end of his shift, and he goes inside and suddenly he's not available for an arrest. Now, ain't that swell? Here we are in the nation's capital fighting for truth and justice, and they're making sure that the illegals with criminal backgrounds get to stay.
Yeah. Y'all, she is the attorney for Washington, D.C. And ICE can't get him. She can't get him yet. I'll say yet, because they, at least this person is on the radar. You can only hide for so long, bro. You got to come outside. You gotta leave the building at some point. They will find this person and they will capture them. And I'm grateful for it. April Showers, thank you so much for reposting the stream. And Cajun Lady, thank you so much for joining us and reposting the stream. And Cajun Lady says, good morning with the red, white, and blue hearts. Thank you so much. But isn't that horrible? That's horrible. This person has been deported 4 times, is an aggravated felon 4 times. Like, federal prison is your next step. Like, you can't even apply for citizenship here, but you have a job at the Capitol. Like, okay, make it make sense. Like, you should be able to say, okay, they are harboring an illegal alien under Title 8, Section 1324, and anybody harboring this person is subject to federal prosecution. What are we doing? I will continue to follow it. I don't know if we got to email Janine Pirro's office and be like, what is going on? Or email the Capitol, what are you doing harboring a felon? Somebody who needs to be deported, period. What are you doing protecting is someone here illegally that we already know is here illegally? and you're paying them. You hired this person. You gave them a job. You gave them a job on Capitol Hill. It's disgusting. It is disgusting. You know what? We need to start getting back into the business of shaming people. I'm for it. Shame. With the big shame on you. Yes. We need to shame people. We need to make them feel horrible about what they're doing because they're being horrible. And they need to know it. And now we're going to get into our next video. Now this is Stephen Miller. And he was on the Sean Hannity show. And he was, talking about some different things that are going on, and just there's one party in particular that he wanted to point out that says they're not going to fight for you. And Cajun Lady says, I'm for it. Yeah, because it needs to happen. All right, let's see, Sean, Mr. Miller.
Action Deputy White House Chief of Staff for Policy, Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller. You know, Stephen, if I've been running a scroll of the names of people that have been shot and killed, you can predict with pinpoint accuracy how many people on any given weekend are going to be shot and killed in Chicago. They haven't lifted a finger to solve the problem. You know, they've fallen into this defund, dismantle, reimagine, no bail insanity. And now Donald Trump wants to help, and they're mad at him?
Look, we discussed this last time I was on your show. The Democrat Party does not fight for, care about, or represent American citizens. It is an entity devoted exclusively to the defense of hardened criminals, gangbangers, and illegal alien killers and terrorists. The Democrat Party...
Now, do you think he's wrong? I don't think he's wrong. I think he said it well. That was well said. They are the party of protecting criminals, period. And that's all they're doing. And that's all they've done. I mean, it's to the point where their party is so criminal. And I didn't cover this, but in Minneapolis, there was the gentleman Omar Fatim. And he was he's running for mayor, and he was supposed to get an endorsement, right, from the Democratic Farmers League or something like that. Well, apparently they withdrew their endorsement, said that he didn't have enough votes, this and that. And so they're like petitioning back and forth. And I'm just like, but this is what their party does all the time. There's just no one there that is above board. There's just no honesty within their parties. And it's like they're eating each other alive. It is very interesting to see and watch. It's like you already have, your numbers are tanking. Over 2 million people have walked away from the Democratic Party. I didn't know if y'all knew that, but yeah, over 2 million people just walked away. They were done. Just devastated and done. And some of them have become Republican and some of them have gone the way of independent. They are failing. And see, I don't think what they don't realize is they can be sued for the things that they have done, for the harms that they have caused people at the local level. Because see, at the local level, people can go after them for the harms that have been caused to their communities, to their lives. If anybody's, lost their life because of their policies. See, they all think they're protected. I know some by the speech and debate clause and others by the fact that, well, I'm a politician. You can't touch me. You're touchable. You're touchable. Your party is touchable because you have decided to support criminal activity. And I think in our lifetime, we are going to see a massive class action lawsuit against the Democratic Party for the harms that they've caused to the American people all over this country. It's going to be interesting. And Cajun Lady says Stephen Miller is accurate. Oh, yes. And Black Empower says the CBC should be sued for misrepresentation. Absolutely. The Congressional Black Caucus should be, because they've done nothing right? But support illegal activity. They have not supported anything legal, especially for the Black community. Reparations, we shouldn't even be talking about reparations right now. The only conversation we should be having is, okay, great, we've generated so much wealth and we're building more businesses here and we're building up better cities over there. Those are the conversations we should be having. But right now, we're cleaning up their mess. Our tax dollars right now are cleaning up the mess that another party as a whole entity has caused. We have the camera, we have the footage. We have the footage of who you support, who you want here. We know you're trying to do the whole replacement migration thing and replace us with a new voting class. We see it. So you can't go back and say, oh, no, we weren't trying to harm you. Yes, you have. You weaponized people against us and you used policy to do it. They're just guilty. They're guilty and they need to be put in prison and their party needs to be completely dismantled. Period. That's where I'm at. They need to be done because all they're doing is causing harm to everyone.
Is not a political party. It is a domestic extremist organization. Look at Chicago. They've shut down the police department. They've handcuffed law enforcement. And as President Trump says, they have turned the streets of Chicago into a bloody killing field. Here in Washington, D.C., before President Trump launched the federal law enforcement liberation in D.C., there was a murder on the streets of this town every other day. Body after body after body after body. That was Washington, D.C. Residents were afraid to go to restaurants. They were afraid to go into entire neighborhoods. They were getting carjacked right and left, robbed and beaten. That was Washington, D.C. Now we're 2 weeks homicide free, the safest the city has ever been in its entire history. And the Democrats, instead of jumping up and down and saying, thank you, President Trump, thank you for saving our lives, thank you for saving our cities, thank you for scrubbing away all the graffiti, the trash, the homeless encampments, the druggies, instead of cleaning up the city, instead of thanking him for that, they're saying, President Trump, how dare you save our lives? How dare you save our children? How dare you save our city? The Democrat Party, Sean, that exists today, it disgusts me. I do not recognize that party, Sean.
I don't recognize it, but the reality is you cannot pursue happiness in this country. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. You can't pursue happiness if you don't have the prerequisite of law and order and safety and security. They are not providing it. Now, my understanding of the Supremacy Clause, that would then be the jurisdiction of the federal government. Your take?
Absolutely, Sean. And first of all, thank you for making this basic point. You can't have happiness without security first. Look, if your streets are more violent, as these Democrat cities are, more violent than Baghdad, more violent than communities in Ethiopia and places that many Americans would never even dream of visiting, some of the most dangerous places on planet Earth. More dangerous than Mexico City. Democrat cities are more dangerous than Mexico City, which is run by criminal cartels. How can you pursue happiness, Sean? And to the point about the federal government and the Supremacy Clause, the president has the utmost authority here because he oversees federal law enforcement, which is supreme to state and local law enforcement. And all of these organized street gangs that are terrorizing these cities, that are dealing these drugs, that are trafficking weapons, that are engaging in organized theft, armed robbery, carjacking, all of them are doing business with, at some level or another, the transnational narco-trafficking organizations. So these street crews are engaged in material support for terrorism, which is the core function of the federal government to defend and protect. Well, President Trump has literally set the people of Washington, D.C. free. They're so happy now that they can just go out and live their lives, go to their favorite restaurant, go to their favorite bar, go to their favorite pool hall, go to their favorite park. You see moms taking kids out to parks they haven't been to in years because they know the police are there. They know that President Trump is there with his law enforcement to protect them. It's a thing of beauty, Sean. But I would say to the mayor of all these Democrat cities, like Chicago, what you are doing to your own citizens is evil. Subjecting your own citizens to this constant bloodbath and then rejoicing in it is evil. And you should praise God every single day that President Trump is in the White House.
If he's going to encourage people to take to the streets over this, I will say anything that happens, he will be responsible for. I did not like his comments. Stephen Miller, good to see you. Thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
Yeah. And he was referring to someone else that we're talking about take to the streets. And Black Flag, thank you so much for reposting the stream. And Black Flag had something to say. He says, rise into this day with confidence. Every step you take is building something greater. Keep your head high, your spirit strong, and let today work in your favor, Black America. So just remember that. Yeah, we have the right to choose. We have the opportunity to turn things around. And, and when our federal government becomes tyrannical, as citizens of this country, we can demand that they stop it. We have the right to tell them, you need to do what's right by us, we the people. And Carlos shares, he says, they should be sued for dereliction of duty. Absolutely. Absolutely. In every single state and city around the country. Because you got to remember, their positions roll up to the federal government, right? So your mayors, your councilmen, your aldermen, your commissioners. Then you've got your state House and Senate. Then you have your federal delegates for the House, which we call Congress. And then you've got your senators for your state at the federal level. And then you roll up, okay, to any more seats that they have at the federal level. As a party, they have completely committed fraud, right, on the American people. And I'm not giving Republicans a pass, but the Republicans that are there need to hold the Democratic Party responsible. Either you get the crime out from their party or you demand that their party is dismantled because they have broken the law with impunity because they think they can. We are not subjects. We are citizens, and you need to respect us, and you need to respect the laws of this country. And if you can't as a party, then you need to be dismantled. Period. Period. If you cannot follow the laws of this country, you need to stop it. Because I think, the Democratic and Republican Party, they think, okay, we're here, we're in charge. No. You are nothing more than an organization that can be dismantled for crimes committed against humanity, against this country. You are not above the law. You don't exist just to exist like we can do whatever we want to. No, you're an LLC and you can be destroyed. Okay. And we can demand that your party be dismantled for crimes. We can demand that. Yeah, we need to make history. We need to make history in the next few years and shut this down because they are causing nothing but harm on the American people. And Tatas, thank you so much for joining us this morning and reposting the stream. Now I'm going to play another video. And it has Stephen Miller in it. And it's not funny, but it's some of the things that he points out. I'm like, he's not wrong. He's not wrong in pointing some of these things out. So let's check it out.
Thank you. And first of all, thank you to the Vice President for bringing us here today. Thank you, Secretary, for your leadership. And most importantly, thank you to the men and women of the National Guard. I think here's the most important point. There are residents who lived in Washington, D.C., their entire lives. Their parents lived here, their grandparents lived here, and they have lived for generations in intolerable conditions of crime and decay. There are parts of the city, I moved to the city 20 years ago. There are places where I've seen graffiti that has been untouched for 2 decades. There are homeless encampments that have made it impossible for families to use public parks and public recreation for as long as I've lived here. There are hundreds of residents of this city who are shot in street violence every single year, making it one of the most violent cities on planet Earth. And for too long, 99% of this city has been terrorized by 1% of this city. And the voices that you hear out there, those crazy communists, they have no roots, they have no connections to the city, they have no families they are raising in this city, they have no one that they are sending to school in this city, they have no jobs in this city, they have no connections to this community at all. But they're the ones who've been advocating for the 1%, the criminals, the killers, the rapists, the drug dealers. And I'm glad they're here today. Because me, Pete, and the Vice President are all going to leave here, and inspired by them, we're going to add thousands more resources to this city to get the criminals and the gang members out of here. We're going to dismantle those networks, and we're going to prove that a city can serve for the law-abiding citizens who live there. We are not going to let the communists destroy a great American city, let alone the nation's capital. And let's just also address one other thing. All these demonstrators that you've seen out here in recent days, all of these elderly white hippies, they're not part of the city and never have been. And by the way, most of the citizens who live in Washington, D.C. are black. This is not a city that has had any safety for its black citizens for generations. And President Trump...
Okay, I wanted to pause it right there. He said something very profound. He said, this is a city that is, in essence, neglected the black citizens of the city. Now, do you think that is by accident or on purpose? Right. Very much so on purpose. Because how do you have a black mayor and you have no safety for the black residents? How do you have the majority of the people that serve in any type of council black in DC, but yet the black citizens there are under siege? Like, what is going on? And Black Empower says, so Republicans are visiting American troops and Democrats are visiting ICE detention centers to check on illegals. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I'm glad he said what needed to be said. Because the Democrats, as much as they want to cry for the black vote, you are not protecting black people at all. You hate us. You've always hated us. You want the vote. You hate black people. You do. And even the black people that are a part of the Democratic Party, they hate themselves. They never want to see black people do better, because if they did, we would be. But now you've hitched your wagon to all of this illegal activity, and you can't go back, can you? You just have to forge forward, because if you stop and say, yeah, we were wrong. We did everything wrong. We've decimated black people's lives. We haven't cared about them. We haven't been concerned about getting them reparations. We haven't been concerned about helping them even get any type of restitution. Okay. We won't even say reparations, restitution. Just fixing their lives up. No, we decided to bring in a whole bunch of illegal people here that committing crimes, and we just let them commit crimes all over. And we dump them in the black neighborhoods. Yeah. We just dumped them on black people. That's how much we love the black people. Democrats. Yeah, I'm talking to y'all. You're a disgusting party. Like, I'm just not even going to hold back anymore. And I know people that are Democrats, and I know that they do not agree with what you are doing. But you're just disgusting. Enough. Enough.
Is the one who is fixing that with the support of the Metropolitan Police Department, the support of the National Guard, and our federal law enforcement officers.
So we're going to ignore these stupid white hippies that all need to go home and take a nap because they're all over 90 years old, and we're going to get back to the business of protecting the American people and the citizens of Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Stephen. A few questions.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because a lot of times, and I don't want to make it completely racial in that sense, but you pointed out, it's like these white hippies, people that have no root nor attachment to the actual historical value of Washington, D.C., are there fighting for illegal activity. They're like, no, you need to let the illegal criminals stay here. But they're not saying that. They're just saying, we want our neighbors here. They're not your neighbors. You don't live in the city. Stop that. It's always the trust fund babies that want to show up and have everybody else live in squalor while they live on the hill. But they'll petition for the squalor. Like, we see you now. Like, nobody's stupid to this anymore. We get it. We get it. Because see, you're not going to move into the squalor and fix it. And if you do, it's all gentrification, right? Because it's, let's run the property down so we can buy it on pennies on the dollar, and then build it up and price out the historical residents there. So they're no longer represented and no longer there. Yeah. It's crazy. It's truly, truly insane. All right, so I got one more video. This one's going to make you guys chuckle just a little bit, but it is very serious what this representative from California is saying. And he says it so well that I really don't know what Democrats are going to do moving forward, because he called them out. He called them out. So let's check this out.
Mr. Speaker, permission to use a prop.
We're not allowing props today, Mr. DeMaio.
Then why have you become props to Governor Gavin Newsom's presidential campaign? That is what SB 280 is, an unnecessary special election at a cost of $250 million. Why? Because his campaign for president has been going down in flames, and he needs something to prop up his chances. Make no mistake about it, this is a political stunt, an unnecessary, costly special election, because Gavin Newsom needs chum in the water for political attention. You know it, and I know it, and you're allowing state taxpayer money to be used for it. My friends across the aisle say that this is no more than a special election like the recall was in 2021. But let me tell you why there's a big difference. The recall in 2021 was a citizen's right. You may disagree with it. I know you all likely voted against it. But it is a right of the citizens to collect signatures and place items on the ballot and trigger a special election. If you felt that this was necessary to overturn the 2010 Citizens Initiative that took the power out of your hands to manipulate lines, and that's what you're doing here, that's what ACA 8 does, takes the power away from the Citizens Commission and gives it right back to the politicians so they can do what they've done for the last 72 hours, go behind closed doors and manipulate maps and draw lines and fashion congressional districts for themselves or their friends in the future. If you wanted to do all that, then you should have done a citizens initiative campaign. You should have collected your signatures like the recall backers did, but you didn't. Because you have no problem spending precious, scarce state tax dollars in the middle of a budget crisis. You say that we have to defend dollars for California, but you have wantonly wasted money, for example, giving free health care to illegal immigrants at the cost of $10 billion and counting. $250 million applied to our state budget may not make up for your multi-billion-dollar deficit, but it's a start. You know what $250 million would do? It would fully fund Prop 36 so that we could give power and tools to the prosecutors and the law enforcement agencies to arrest and punish criminals. Voters voted for Prop 36, but you refused to fund it. From the party that says, let the voters decide and let's do what the voters want. Baloney. You do what you want. Might makes right. And that's exactly what you've done for the last 72 hours by trampling over constitutional provisions and violating House rules. And you talk about a fair election, SB 280 shortens the timeline necessary for an election, but because you have an urgency clause there, might makes right. You change election law. And now you're going to slap a misleading ballot title on. You can't even win based on the truth. You say you trust the voters, but you don't trust them enough to tell them the truth. Because your ballot measure title, because we've seen it, we've seen your polling that the DCCC or someone paid for, retains the Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission. Are you proud of yourselves? Retains the Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission? You are eviscerating that commission. You are nullifying that commission. You are suspending the voice of the citizens and what they decided to grab the power back for yourself. And don't for a moment call it temporary. You know darn well that this is permanent. You will never give the power back to the people once you seize it back from them.
30 seconds.
And finally, you say that you're going to respect the vote of the people. Did you do that with Prop 36 by fully funding it? No. Did you respect the vote of the people who put Article 21 in our state constitution and said you shouldn't have the ability to draw maps? You're drawing a map in violation of the state constitution. You don't care about what the voters said. You're disregarding it from 2010. Oh, but they'll retroactively approve our decision here. Will they? Give them an honest ballot title. You'll see what these voters
Thank you, Mr. DeMaio. Thank you, Mr. DeMaio.
Yeah. I like Mr. Carl DeMaio. What do y'all think? He said what needed to be said. He knows they're dishonest. They know they're dishonest, but they don't care. And I think that was his whole point. It was like, you don't care. You're never going to return power back to the people. And he's not wrong. That's how California is. That is how these Democrats have gotten in and destroyed that state. They don't care. They care about power. They do not care about the people. We have such an amazing opportunity in our country right now to turn things around and make demands on our public officials from the bottom up. And we need to start making our demands. And with that, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to check out some news on all sides. So thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News, and we'll see you on the other side.
At All Sides, we believe unbiased news doesn't exist. To get more clicks and make more money, media outlets often report news with a left, right, or sensational slant, either to suit their own agenda or because by telling us what we want to hear, we'll come back for more. Several news outlets in the center do a good job of portraying both sides equitably, but for the most part, American news media is biased. Bias isn't necessarily a bad thing. The key is to get multiple perspectives. But making matters worse, social media and internet search results are heavily filtered, showing us the most popular opinion or results that match our preferences and make us happy. That means we're all living in filter bubbles, where we're only exposed to viewpoints we already agree with, making us less informed and less tolerant of different people and ideas. At All Sides, we give bias ratings for hundreds of media outlets. By freeing people from filter bubbles and providing different perspectives, we can all be better equipped to understand the world and each other. So how do we do it? All Sides has created a patented, fair, transparent process to rate the media bias of hundreds of news outlets and writers. We assess each media source and rate them as far left, center, lean right, or far right, allowing you to quickly identify different perspectives. All Sides is constantly evolving our media bias engine. The more you participate, the better our ratings will be, and the better our news coverage will be. Go to allsides.com to get involved.
And welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us here on Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. And my name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. So we're going to check out some news from all sides. And one of the first articles that came across was, Trump moves to eliminate cashless bail. Could it help lower crime? And, this has been a broad conversation. And initially, from my understanding about the cashless bail, it was to help individuals who may not otherwise have the funds or have the resources, right? The difference between having funds and resources. When I say resources, maybe, family members to help or whatever, so they could post bail. So they started with cashless bail. And of course, they used Black people as their excuse because they were like, well, Black people can't afford it, like other demographics, blah, blah, blah. But then they turned around and used it for illegal immigrants. There was a situation of cashless bail in Illinois where a man had beheaded a woman, kept her body in bleach. They found her body on his property. And this person was here illegally, by the way. And they released him the same day. Yeah, you heard that right. They released him. He decapitated somebody. They found the body on the property and they released him because there's cashless bail. Yeah. No. People need to start serving their time. If they've committed a crime, they need to serve the time. And if they cannot post bail, then they're going to be held. But here's the thing, with jail overcrowding and all these other things, it's like, yeah, well, if you get rid of a lot of these people that shouldn't be here and send them back to their home country, we might have some more room in the jails, but we still need to rehabilitate people that can be rehabilitated and make it so where it's not a revolving door, right? Because something is wrong when somebody is continuously ending up in prison. That means when they leave, there's no way for them to make a life for themselves, right? There may be a lack of education or resources. So we need to make sure that men and women who are previously incarcerated have a means to support themselves, right? And not just, making $10, $15 an hour. No, they need to be able to make a livable wage. They need to be in the position where they can afford an apartment and a car and groceries. Because see, they're making it so where, people almost feel like I'd rather be in jail than free, because at least if I'm in jail or prison, I'm at least fed, right? And it shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way. So President Trump signed a series of executive orders on Monday aimed at cracking down on crime, including one that seeks to eliminate cashless bail by reviewing funding for federal jurisdictions that continue to allow it. Media across the spectrum have disagreed on whether the order will be effective. Trump said cashless bail, we're ending it, but we're starting by ending it in D.C., and that we have the right to do through federalization, which is what he's doing right now. And Gibson for governor, thank you so much for reposting the stream. And so for context, several states have moved away from cash bail in recent years, with Washington, D.C. serving as a pioneer. In 1992, the district eliminated its money bail system in favor of a judicial one. So in New York and New Jersey, eliminated cash bail for many crimes in 2017 and 2020, respectively. Illinois became the first state to eliminate cash bail entirely in 2023. And they wonder why their crime is so bad. So, from the right, the New York Post editorial right bias called the move good policy and better politics. It wrote, above all, it nationalizes a debate that progressives would rather restrict to areas where they dominate and so helps force them to defend these policies. Policies that tell criminals they'll face no serious immediate consequences for their crimes. The Post also added that after New York imposed cashless bail in 2020, left leaning New Yorkers blamed it for the crime surge by a margin of 64% to 24%. Well, yeah. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen if you tell people, okay, yeah, we're just going to give you bail because you don't have the money to afford bail, so we'll just let you out, just come back. What? Yeah. And Patty Cake, she's on YouTube. She says, I've been trying to tell people that DC has cashless bail. Glad he is ending it. Yes. Yes. And Gibson from New York says, protect yourself. Never wait on police. You got to be in that position, right? You got to know what to do to protect yourself because, yeah, I was telling somebody, it's like, yeah, the police can be there in 5 minutes. And I think I was saying it a little facetiously. And it was like, no, police need to be there faster. And I'm like, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And Mark from the Soil, thank you for joining us this morning and reposting the stream. And Only Facts and Truth, thank you for joining us this morning and reposting the stream. This cashless bail thing is a trip. So from the left, the New York Times, that's leans left, published an analysis that in its subhead said, conservatives argue that policies limiting the practice have contributed to increased lawlessness, but the data does not support their argument. The Times mentioned a 2024 report from the Brennan Center for Justice that compared 22 cities that changed bail laws to 11 that did not, 11 that did not, and found no statistically significant relationship between bail reform and crime rates. It also mentioned in 2024 study that Drexel University and Boston University that found there has been no increase in gun violence in New Jersey since the state reformed bail in 2017. That is a lie. Here's the deal. You're not reporting the crimes because now that you have a cashless bail system, you don't have to report the crimes that have actually occurred. You can skew the numbers to make your city look safe when it's not safe. Because if you were to ask any of the people that are in New Jersey or New York or any of these places, hey, has crime gotten any better? They will tell you no. Resoundingly no. Again, a lot of these are Democratic policies. They need to be disbanded. I'm telling you, as a party, they are on their way out of here. I mean, the Redemption Party will proudly replace you. Okay? Because you've done nothing for the people but try to destroy this country. And we see you doing it with your bare hands, and we're tired of it. You know, I'm really surprised that they did not try to interject race with cashless bail, but I think that argument's going to cry out. They're going to be like, you're going to disenfranchise and hurt Black people if you get rid of cashless bail. No, it was never meant for us. It was meant for your plan of bringing illegals here so you could just turn them out on the streets like a revolving door. There was never any intent to help crime with cashless bail. It was so that crime could be run rampant and people would be overrun. And then you would want people crying for martial law. You want people crying for it, like, help us. You need to do something. And then once we would give up more rights, yeah, we would be begging for a solution worse than the problem it's trying to solve. That is what Democrats have done. And Gibson forgot, the governor says, Democrats. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And Black Diamond, thank you for joining us this morning, says, we should not support this measure. We Black Americans disproportionately affect us. Yeah. We are the ones that cannot make bail. Yeah, we can't make bail, but here's the deal. It's not disproportionately affecting us. And if it is, right, let's just say this. An illegal immigrant is more times than not likely to kill somebody and they turn them right back out on the street for cashless bail. Okay. The city will cry out and say, okay, we need to get rid of cashless bail. And then your argument turns around and says, well, it's going to affect Black people if we get rid of it. Even if we're not the ones, the majority causing the problem. That's the problem. Stop using us as an excuse for lawless behavior. If you commit a crime and you can't put up bail, don't commit the crime. It's real simple. It's real simple. And I'm not going to take the excuse, it was my mom's fault. It was my dad's fault. It's the school's fault. It's your fault. If you run around and commit a crime, it's your fault. Own it. Own it. I'm not making excuses for anybody anymore. You own that. You own that. You stand 10 toes down on it. Don't you dare say, oh yeah, we need an excuse to be able to be back out on the street. Absolutely not. And we can have that whole discussion. What you're not going to do is say criminal activity is good at any time. Because see, now these babies out here, they think it's okay to run into Lululemon as long as they still under $1,000 because they raised the limit on the misdemeanor. So as long as you only steal up to a certain amount, you won't go to jail. What? Why are we encouraging criminal behavior? What happened to us? It's that part. No more. No more. And Gibson for governor says stop doing crime. Okay. Black Empower says, can we get out of the habit of associating Black Americans with crime? That part. Okay. I hear you, sir. I hear you. And Black Diamond says, we are the ones disproportionately falsely accused. Always. And that's fine. But guess what? If we are not committing the crimes, we are not committing the crimes. We have enough. we have so many cameras following us everywhere. Trust me. Trust me. We cannot continue making excuses. We can live lives and above board and blameless. Period. And Gibson for governor says, white liberal led. And Black Diamond says, we have the highest number of people released due to being falsely accused. Okay. And Gibson for governor says, amen. Well, I mean, that's good that we have the highest number of people released due to being falsely accused. Okay. I would rather be falsely accused and released than making excuses for committing crime. Period. Period. Because see, there's a lot of people that are melanated here that are not Black Americans that do commit crimes, but then that's when they're dumped on us. But when they, need the numbers, they're put other places. They're dumped in our community with no jobs, with no resources. But then they're given the resources on top of Black Americans. Like it's a trip. It really, really is. And Only in Fact says, great point. We will beg for a solution worse than the issue it's meant to solve. Yeah, that's part of it. And Black Diamond says, wow, look at the data. We are the ones not committing the crime, but being charged. We are held by the system unjustifiably. Yeah. And again, a lot of this comes back to policy, right? So what do we do? Well, what we do is we need to start running at the local level for these positions. What we do is we need to start having these relationships with our police chiefs, with the police in the community. That's what we need to do. No more complaining. Nobody gets to sit back and just say, oh, well, it's their fault. No. Go down to your local commissioner's office, go to your mayor's office, go find your alderman, go find your chief of police and talk to them and start to develop the relationship and say, where are the problems in our city and what can we do to fix it? Period. Nobody gets to sit back on their hands anymore and say it's somebody else's problem, but I'm going to complain about all the things happening. No more. So you have come and met the wrong one, me. Because I'm not going to sit back and hold your hands, and I'm not going to collar you, and I'm not going to hold you and say, oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You better cry your 2 tears in a bucket and get over it and get off your hands and go run for office or volunteer in your city. If you want to see it changed, if you want to see policy change, you better be running for office to get the policies changed. Stop complaining and get it done. And that's it. That's it. And Gibson for Governor says, sister, you were speaking facts. Yes. This is our community. And if it's our community, then we need to be responsible for it. Yeah, I started a political party and anybody can run under it. USARedemptionParty.com. Sign up. Let's go. No more excuses. No more. Why are you laughing at me this morning? Why are you laughing at me, Gibson? Really? Really, bro? All right. Let's go to the next story. The next article, I should say. Now, this one I actually really do like. So Trump signs an executive order to prosecute flag burning. Now, there might be a few people out here that get upset and say, well, it's your First Amendment right to burn the flag, blah, blah, blah. I kind of like it. I kind of like that he wants to, write this executive order. Because if you're trying to desecrate the flag and you want to stomp on and burn it, but you still want to live here, no, you can go home. You can miss me with that. Okay. And so Black Diamond says, I have over 25 years in our judicial system. This is incorrect. I am a judge and sit on the circuit court. This is not accurate. What's not accurate? What? What, that we can't change anything? Again, I'm glad. I'm glad you're a judge. Fix it. Figure it out. Work with your councilmen and put some programs in place for these youths so they're not running around idle. Okay? Idle hands is the devil's playground. What are you going to do to fix it, Judge? What are we doing? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Because if you want to sit up here and complain, you have come to the wrong area. I am not about complaining. I am about solutions. Period. Bring me in on that one. Okay, yeah. So Black Diamond, let's go. Let's get it. If you're real serious about it, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. I want this done. I do not want to sit back, especially if we have people like yourself in the position of authority where we can fix this. Now, if you're one of those, oh, it's too insurmountable, it's too hard to fix, then maybe you might want to back up out the conversation. But if you are really ready to fix it, let's go. Come on. It starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with all of us. But we no longer have the luxury to sit back and say it's somebody else's job, because it's not. It isn't. And I'm a paralegal, by the way. Gibson says facts. Karen have it. How you go? Stop that. I'll talk to you later. Okay. So President Trump signed an executive order on Monday to prosecute individuals who burn the American flag, assigning a penalty of 1 year in prison. I like it. I like it. So for the details, the order directs the Attorney General to pursue legal clarification on First Amendment limits, enforce laws against flag-related crimes, and refer violations to state or local authorities when applicable. Federal officials are instructed to deny or revoke visas, residence permits, or naturalization for foreign nationals who engage in such acts. It notes the Supreme Court rulings on the First Amendment did not extend protections to acts likely to provoke imminent lawless action or that constitute fighting words. Okay, making sense. Like I want to say, for example, a lot of the riots that we saw in California earlier this summer with the ICE situation in Los Angeles, you saw people burning cars and standing, and they were waving the American flag. And in some instances, they were burning the American flag. And then I saw other flags, interesting, that had like the Mexican flag and the American flag like split in two. It was like sharing it together was weird, but seen it. So in 1989, the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 in Texas versus Johnson that burning the American flag is protected political expression under the First Amendment. The ruling invalidated flag burning laws in 48 states. Trump has previously advocated for criminalizing flag burning, and this is how the media covered it. Fox News and Right Bias highlighted recent instances where prosecutors have burned the American flag, including immigration protests surrounding the Israel-Gaza war, and the 2020 Black Lives Matter protest. Newsweek Center and The Guardian Left both highlighted the order's direct opposition to Texas versus Johnson. Newsweek included the history of Texas versus Johnson. The Guardian noted a 2020 survey where nearly half of Americans supported making flag destruction illegal, and about 1/3 believe it's permissible. My husband is a retired veteran, and when he sees people desecrating the flag or burning the flag, it hurts his heart. But he'll sit back and say, you know what? It's their right to do it. And it's hurtful, to see that pain on his face, because he's fought so hard to make sure that we're free. He sacrificed his life to make sure that we're free and we have freedoms, even the freedom to burn the flag that he swore to uphold. And it's those things that you don't see all the time and you don't really take precedence to. And so Unc says, bring the judge up. And then I got a lot of comments here, you guys. Sorry. Democrats say it's First Amendment rights, so why it's not a right to burn the LGBT flag? Right? Okay. All right. I'll bring it up. Uncle said, bring up the judge. I'm like, okay, I don't know who the judge is. I don't even know. I can get in touch with the judge, or if he wants to come up. If the judge wants to come up, let me know, and I'll send you a link. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick break. And I'm going to send a link over to Gibson for governor, because apparently he's very passionate right now and he needs to speak to the rest of us out here. So we will take a quick break, and we will have Gibson for New York on the other side.
The browsers of today are broken. They've been overtaken by a barrage of sneaky and annoying ads, trackers that follow your habits, and cookies that build profiles, and all sorts of other internet clutter that's taking precedence over the content that you want to see. In fact, these useless bytes can take up to a whopping 50% of page load times, with 1/3 of it anxiously trying to learn more about you. To make matters worse, some ad blockers are even letting ads through when large advertisers pay them. But do you really want a leaky ad blocker? It's because of these very reasons that we developed Brave, a new browser that kicks internet crud to the curb and makes it faster, safer, and better to surf the web than your current browser. With Brave, everything you need is built right in. We integrated technology that automatically blocks trackers, annoying ads, and shields everything that can cramp your style and destruct your privacy. With it, you can expect increased speeds nearly 2 times faster on laptops and up to 4 times faster on mobile. And unlike any other browser, Brave allows you to support your favorite publishers with automatic micropayments. So it's a win-win for you and your favorite sites. To top it all off, Brave is open source because we truly believe it's our web and we need to fix it together. So ask yourself this question. Do you want a web browser made for the internet of today? If so, try Brave. It's faster, safer, and ad-free.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining us here on Unfiltered Vision News, where we bring you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. And my name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. And so the mic was requested by Gibson for New York governor. So I'm just waiting for him to join us here on the stage. And there he is. Oh my goodness. He was ready to go this morning. He's like, all right, let's get it. Let's get into it. So here he is. Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
I do. I hear you well.
Okay. Look,
I
here we
love
go.
the show this morning. I had to jump in. I was like, let me catch that running horse and just jump on his back.
Okay, well, I'll let you take it. Go ahead.
Good morning to your audience. Good morning to yourself. And I love your show. I watch it every day. I'll be looking forward to seeing it. But today's show, I love it. You is running them down. I was the opposite of the Karen today, not Karen. Oh man. We must, as the Black community, take responsibility in what we are doing and stop blaming the white man for every single thing. Let's straighten our community out. And when I'm in some of these, I be in these spaces, they be telling me, well, the white community commit crime. I don't care nothing about that. I'm talking about my Black community. Let's straighten our community out and be done with. So I want to speak on a few issues today that you are talking about, and one of them is the flag burning. That President Trump knows how to get the Democrats off their rocker. He knows for a fact that that's a First Amendment right. You can burn a flag. You know that. I don't like it. He
Right.
don't like it, but he has a great way of exposing the American haters coming out burning flags. And not only that, the man that got arrested yesterday is not getting arrested for burning a flag, even though the media headlines will tell you that he had the material to start a fire in that public setting. That's what he's getting arrested for. So
Okay.
President Trump is very crafty with he's tricking these Democrats off their rockers. So to say that now all the Democrats has the talking points come out and say, well, it's the First Amendment right. So I recommended that President Trump come out today and do executive order to cancel the Second Amendment, which gives you the right to bear arms. I said, if he come out and do that, that'll be very clever. And all the Democrats will push back against it, even though they were trying to ban all the guns. That's a good way to make them fall into the Second Amendment. So what President Trump is doing is very clever. He knows some of this stuff won't stand; it'll be knocked down. But I admire him from the way that he's doing that. And hey, it is what it is. But let's get to this LGBT flag. As many of you know, I'm a proud boy, New York chapter, Hellgate Bridge. But the burning the gay flag in DC, which was me, some of my friends, other people, and some of the guys got arrested for doing that. So if you're gonna arrest us for burning a gay flag or painting over a rainbow color sidewalk or whatever in the road, what is the problem with the American flag then? So you don't want me to arrest for burn American flag, but if I burn a LGBTG flag, I goes to jail. I mean, what sense does it make? It's so hypocritical. It makes absolutely no sense. But I just had to come in and chime in. I thank you for letting me come in. And I am going today is go on and file to run on the Redemption Party. The Republican
Oh,
Party in New York State is unfit, as many of us seen during the mayoral raids up there. And the Democrat Party is just as worse. So I'm going to file today, and I'm going to run on the Redemption Party ticket, and I'm going to put it on my bus and travel around the state of New York. We're going to make some noise there. But thank you for letting me chime in this morning. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I was in court yesterday.
okay.
Uh, Due to a business matter, I had to go to court yesterday, which out in Fulton County. Judge was
Okay.
so wonderful. But thank you.
Okay, absolutely. And thank you for, saying what you said because like I was sharing with the audience before you came up, my husband is retired military, you know.
Right.
And even though it hurts his heart to see people burn the flag, he knows that that's their First Amendment right. But
Right.
you do find it curious, and I do as well, because we could burn the Georgia flag. People be like, that's your First Amendment right. But when it comes to this particular group, if you try to burn their flag, then it's an issue.
Right.
I no
It's
longer
the hate crime.
right, like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Right.
Yeah. Rules for me and not for thee.
Right. And one more thing. Let's stop blaming the white man for everything. Let's look within. Let's start raising our children. I mean,
Yes.
it's no lesser matters. Whoever the guy was, Hubert Humphrey, who the hell had the bat standing in front of the school door. It's not like that anymore. Grab your trade, grab your skill, and you can
Mhm.
become very successful. We need to stop blaming the white man for every single thing
Yeah.
that is going on. It's insanity.
Yeah, we need to own our community. If it's our community, then it's
Right.
ours. And if
Right.
we allow it to be infiltrated, then that's on us.
Right. That's
But
correct.
we don't have to allow that. If it's us, it's us. I know the judge that came through. I'm not trying to, make this all about you or come down on you, but you were mentioning some things. And like, if you're a judge, then hey, you're in a position of authority. Let's come up with some solutions to fix it, as opposed to complain about the problems.
Well, look at
Right?
your males that they elected leaders, black leaders. I'm just going to put the blame with black leadership. Mayor Brandon, all these males and Democrat black
Mm-hmm.
leaders, they
Yeah.
are detrimental to the black community. I mean, what the hell is going on?
Right.
I don't get that. You in a position of power to make your community better, not only your community, but everybody that you represent, and you
Mm-hmm.
fight against the very things that President Trump want to make our communities more say. Well, he picking on black people. When they stop doing fucking crime. If you don't want to be picked on, stop doing it because the black males, the black leaders are letting your community get destroyed, and they're letting you destroy your community, letting you destroy your children, which is your offsprings. I mean, somebody got to step in and say it's enough of the nonsense. Let's see can we help save the black community from itself because we are destroying ourselves. Once again, I don't want to hear that about what white people do. I'm a black man. I want to fix our community. So call me
Mm.
whatever you want to call me. As long as you call me a Mr. on that title, Mr. Coon, Mr. Uncle Tom, and I embrace that. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, because like I said, it starts with us and it ends with us, you know. And just with the Democratic Party, unfortunately, it's become about their party, not about the people that they serve, but about their party. And it's so evident now, and you can see it. I'm like,
Well,
mm,
let me correct one thing. It is about the people they serve, and who they serve is illegal aliens. As you see,
right.
they go all
Yeah.
out the country fighting for them. This is why I don't see how absolutely no American citizen, especially black people, will vote for a Democrat after they are doing all this for illegal aliens and let you go to jail and see to any one of them come to that jail and fight for your rights, your due process.
Mm-mm.
Absolutely none. So it's
No.
despicable. And this is what our movement is about to wake the black community up and
Yeah.
say, enough is enough. Take your vote away from those people that save our community. Let's save our country. And it's no such thing as go back to Africa because we never came from Africa. This is my country as well as the white man country, anybody else. I am an American citizen. I'm from America. I do not say I'm African American because I'm not an African American. And this is what President Trump got to be told also when he be saying he should say black American. We need to change that African American thing. We are not African Americans. We are black Americans. This country is ours just like it's anybody else in here.
Absolutely. And I'll let you have last words because I know you got to get back to whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in on the flag burning issue because I know people say, like myself and others, hey, burn a
Hmm.
flag all day, burn it. My kids whooped the Antifa in front of the White House about burning American flag. The Secret Service simply put all them in a little group, put them on the side and let them finish whooping their ass for burning the flag, and nobody got arrested. I mean, hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So my last point is let's please stop blaming the white man and take accountability for what our community is doing. Sweep around your own door first. Then we can point the other way. And thank you. You have a blessed day.
Okay, you too. And thank you so much for joining us here on Unfiltered Vision News. And that was Derek Gibson, and he is running for governor of New York. And as you heard, he's going to be running as a redemptionist under the Redemption Party. So again, if you want information about the party, you can visit usaredemptionparty.com. That is usaredemptionparty.com. So let's continue to get back to it. I've got a couple more stories that I wanted to cover, and one is Mississippi declaring a health emergency for infant mortality rates in the state. Now, I hadn't heard about this before, and I never really think about infant mortality rates because I know that, they have banned abortions in certain states and especially in certain southern states, but, it is what it is. But now, saying that the mortality rate is higher. I know they have water issues in Jackson. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I definitely wanted to check this out. So it says the Mississippi State Department of Health has declared a public health emergency in response to rising infant mortality rates across the states. According to a release by MSDH, Mississippi's 2024 data shows the overall infant mortality rate has increased to 9.7 deaths per 1,000 live births. Wow, the highest in over a decade. The release said 30,527 babies have died in Mississippi before age 1 since 2014. Health officials said the leading causes of death in Mississippi include congenital malformations, preterm birth, low birth weight, and sudden infant death syndrome. So MSDH said it would partner with agencies to improve maternal and infant care, expand parental access, and address gaps in services to help more babies survive their first year. Because that's interesting that wow. Okay, so premature births, low birth weights, SIDS, congenital malformations. Again, I think this comes back to their environment, some of it. And also, what people are probably not talking about is, you inject these babies. Since 2014, they've increased the amount of vaccinations that children have to get before they leave the hospital. Look at that. Your water, especially in the city of Jackson, look at that. Look at the things around you that you can fix because, in my opinion, an infant should never be getting any type of injection until their parents are ready to decide if they want their children inoculated. Yeah. So a lot of these deaths that are caused, you need to look at vaccinations first. And if HHS is listening, you need to look into this. You need to find out. And Mississippi, you need to make sure you turn all of that data over to Health and Human Services so we can really find out what's going on because these issues may be going on in other states, but they're not calling it a crisis because it depends on who's actually perishing, right? As far as infants go. So in 2024, Mississippi had the highest infant mortality rates in the country, according to the March of Dimes report card. According to KFF Health News data, 57% of Mississippi's births were financed by Medicaid. So we're looking at, people on federal assistance or state assistance, right? Several states have passed legislation to improve maternal care, including Alabama, Virginia, and Connecticut. However, all sites couldn't find a previous example of infant mortality rates prompting another state to declare an emergency. Understood with that because I hadn't seen this yet. So this is how the media covered it. Both the Washington Examiner that leans right bias, right, and CBS News that leans left highlighted the infant mortality rates and its disproportionate impact on Black families. Why am I not surprised? The Washington Examiner highlighted racial disparities in maternal care across states and the impact of Medicaid cuts on infant and maternal health. CBS News framed the declaration within a broader Centers for Disease Control and Prevention study that showed infant mortality rates rising for the first time in 20 years. It cited federal cuts as a whole, naming cuts to both Medicaid and the Pregnancy Risk Assessment Monitoring System, PRAMS, a CDC program that factors that could contribute to higher infant mortality rates. First of all, the CDC is where they make sure they get their vaccines patented, right? So for the CDC to pop it and be like, oh yeah, we want to help. No, you don't. You hate Black people. You do. And it's gotten worse in 20 years because the amount of vaccines that children need to have even before they leave the hospital has increased. I mean, it's gone from 10 shots to almost 100 shots that the kids need to get by the time they're 6. And then after that, they still have to get subsequent boosters to help them. They're not helping anymore. I need the CDC to stand back. I need HHS to get on top of CDC and say, stop inoculating our babies. And then let's see what happens. Okay? Because see, in 2023, we had a surge of people not from the soil that came here. How can care get worse in 20 years? They're like, oh, well, we don't have the money. You don't have the money for people here illegally. See, something like this is a ploy to get money for people that are here illegally. Stop using Black people as the excuse. I know it's affecting us, but don't use us to get more money off of this. You better use the examples that we have here and fix it. Because if it was better 20 years ago, you better look and see what you did 20 years ago and fix it. And it's not all about money, because the money is more than likely there. You're just not using it in the right places. Period. Otherwise, you would have been talking about this 10 years ago and you've said nothing. Yeah. Stop using Black people as your excuse for everything. Sad. And I'm sorry, you guys. I talked about that whole story and did not have it on the screen. I was just going in. But let me show it to you. There you go. So this is the mortality rates, this data, 57%. Yeah, and the CDC. Just absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. But yes, guys, thank you so much for joining us here on Unfiltered Vision News. I know we covered a lot today on Tell It All Tuesday, from the flag burning to other things happening in the community. Judge Black Diamond, thank you so much for joining us. And I really do hope that you are able to use your position to put in, some community plans so that we can help our youth not get into trouble, right? Let's look at getting them some apprenticeships to maybe work in chambers and see what the courtroom looks like. You might have your next bailiff. You might have your next paralegal. You might have your next clerk that wants to, be a part of the legal system to help the next person not get into trouble, right? I see you as somebody who really can be helpful to the Black community. And I want to see things change for all of us, but we have to be responsible for us. It takes us to be responsible. So again, thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. Tomorrow is going to be our Women in Wellness Wednesday. So join us there. And Derek Gibson, running for governor of New York, and he'll be running with the Redemption Party. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and just sharing your thoughts, on the flag burning, because I never thought about Donald Trump trolling the left, but yeah, that's a super troll. If he is. And Black Flag, thank you for always sending your love and prayers. So with that, we're going to end today's stream, and we will see you guys tomorrow. And remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you on the next one.